All right, we've made it to Friday. Welcome to KSAT News Now, streaming and podcasting as well. Stephen Cavazos wrapping up the week with us
Yeah,
here.
finally Friday. We were just kind of excited about that and singing some Friday songs in my head. But, great way to end my week. Some jingles, but, great way to end the week here with you on KNN.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking a little bit about some holiday traditions and things of that nature, especially tamales. So, yeah, always a good conversation there.
Yes.
We'll be talking Christmas lights later on as well. So.
Well, I love that. What's your favorite tamale, though? You can't just,
I like the traditional, the pork.
The pork, same.
Yeah.
But you know what? I like a little bit of jalapeno in mine. A little bit of spice. Yeah. And mix it in with some nice, but
yeah, people have been getting very creative when it comes to their tamale making. But good. It is Friday. We're glad to be with you guys again, coming from the KSAT 12 newsroom. And this morning, obviously, we have a mix of news, trending stories, and one of the big stories that we've been following throughout the morning. Stephen, you've been here early. The latest on Brittney Griner. Yeah,
big news in the early morning hours as she officially returns home after months in a Russian jail.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're also going to go over a landmark vote to protect same-sex marriage. Plus, we were talking about the light display in Texas. San Antonio staking its claim to that. Yeah. But let's go ahead and talk about this Brittney Griner story, because if you're watching us on the visual platforms, we're going to start right there. And we mentioned that she's back on U.S. soil nearly 10 months after she was jailed abroad in Russia. Her plane first touched down here in San Antonio at Kelly Field early this morning.
Yeah, after landing, Griner was taken to Brooke Army Medical Center for a routine evaluation. However, her journey home was paved with many challenges.
Absolutely, yeah. Griner was first arrested in February. You may remember this was back at a Moscow airport after Russian authorities said that she was carrying vape canisters with cannabis oil. U.S. officials declared Griner was wrongfully detained.
Yeah, however, after a deal between the U.S. and Russia, we saw Griner exchange for Russian arms dealer Victor Boot. However, U.S. officials were unable to secure the release for Paul Whelan, another American who has been jailed in Russia for nearly 4 years. And again, she did touch base here in San Antonio in the early hours of this morning. Our Jonathan Cota was live there and following Griner as she made her arrival back here into the States and was taken to BAMC for that medical evaluation. But this has obviously been a story that has continued to play out. We've seen the long journey home, and it was really concerning there. 9 years was the original sentence for that charge she faced in Russia, but President Biden and other U.S. officials were able to secure that deal. However, we know that Paul Whelan, that other American, is still stuck there in Russia, and unfortunately, it's unclear how long he will be there or when we will be able to get him back here.
States. And I believe he's been there now for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, for what he was charged for espionage. So they say they will continue to follow his case as well. I wanted to mention Greg Popovich. Yesterday, I was at the Spurs game. And he was asked about Brittney Griner, and he said that it was a joyful news there. Of course, Brittney Griner plays in the WNBA, so she's part of the NBA family. And he said that she even noted that having other people still being treated the way they are in so many different countries, it's still evident there's still a lot of work to be done to bring a lot more people back home. So that was Coach Pop talking yesterday.
And I think that's what's amazing about this is that she's able to return home right before the holidays. So you know that when she meets with her wife, and this holiday season will be very special for Brittney Griner and her wife. So, we'll continue to see her as she makes her way back home and reunited with her family.
Absolutely. And of course, interesting spin that she was here being evaluated by local officials. So, yeah, that is good news there. So now to a landmark vote this morning to protect same-sex and interracial marriage.
Yeah, the House voted to pass the Respect for Marriage Act. This is the last step before the measure goes to President Joe Biden for his signature and becomes law.
All right, so the House vote was 258 to 169. And this was pretty interesting here, with 39 Republicans joining the Democrats in voting for favor of this. And of course, loud cheers breaking out in the chamber when the vote was gavelled to a close.
Now, while the bill would not set a national requirement that all states must legalize same-sex marriage, it would require individual states to recognize another state's legal marriage.
Yeah, very important note there. So the push for a vote on federal legislation protecting same-sex marriage rapidly gained momentum after the Supreme Court in June, you remember this, overturned its landmark Roe v. Wade decision.
The bill passed the Senate with a vote of 61 to 36 last weekend. We were another, big story coming out of the nation's capital. But, even Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin, who, took the podium, she's actually the first openly gay senator, and she was elected a decade ago, and she expressed her emotion. She was overjoyed, seeing that this would obviously protect millions of couples around the country. So this is a step forward, and just her expressing her appreciation for that.
And this is, what we've seen now. This is an ongoing battle there for the LGBTQ plus community, and I'm glad to hear that there was bipartisan support for this, because sometimes they're so split down the middle where you don't see sort of like the common sense, but especially when it comes to this, these individuals have been married for years on end, and it's something that absolutely should not be overturned in any sort of way, despite like what state you live in. So I'm glad to hear that this happened.
Yeah, good news there. And hopefully you still have some face masks handy. Do you still have face masks?
I don't, but this is making me think that I gotta run to the store.
Same here, because experts say it might be a good idea to wear one while holiday shopping this winter.
I will say, just in some visits to the grocery store and just being kind of out and about, I am seeing a little bit more people wearing face masks here. But this is not just because of COVID-19, the flu, RSV, and COVID-19. So these are all impacting the nation this holiday season. So all of this stuff is going on right now.
Health officials are urging people to take precautions to protect themselves, encouraging people to get vaccinated, of course, wash their hands frequently, and even mask up in certain circumstances.
All right, so medical experts from Vanderbilt University Medical Center say older people who have any sort of underlying illness, and anyone who is immunocompromised should consider wearing a mask to protect themselves.
Some communities across the country are even considering bringing back certain masking recommendations as the wave of respiratory illnesses worsens. And obviously with people traveling through the holidays, it's not a fun time to have to wear a mask, but obviously health experts are saying that this is for safety reasons.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. And again, I've noticed several other people wearing masks throughout grocery stores. And what kind of struck me the other day is that it's not that so rare to see anymore. I remember prior to COVID, you'd see people wearing masks at airports, and I always thought, I was like, well, that's kind of interesting, but now it's just kind of a common thing if people want to protect themselves in the best way possible.
Yeah, and same, I see it whether it be at the grocery store, I've seen it at the mall, people taking those measures to protect themselves, and of course, washing the hands is a big one. Hand sanitizer has become more frequent. I don't think there's one person that I know in my life that does not have hand sanitizer by their desk, in their car, by their bedside. So just taking those steps to make sure that everyone's holidays are obviously safe and healthy. I
always feel I should have invested in hand sanitizer, man. That's that would have been a good
You know what?
But throw some money into
There was a time I would just put so much on, and my hands, it would start to get start to peel a little bit because of the acidity or the alcohol that's in there. So but always good to have it handy.
It's definitely the world we live in now. All right, so big things happening here for UTSA. Of course, it has been a heck of a run throughout the past couple of seasons, and UTSA fans have a lot of reasons to celebrate following the team's Conference USA championship, and that calls for a rowdy river parade.
Yeah, birds up, right? The Roadrunners are back-to-back champs with a 48-27 win over North Texas in the championship game. That was last Friday.
It was a week ago, a week ago today, and they had 41,000 fans at the Dome for that one there.
So the Dome.
Yeah, they were celebrating there. They're celebrating now. The Rowdy River Parade begins at 7 o'clock tonight, and this is going to be at the Arneson River Theater. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool stuff. Love seeing the community support their Roadrunners. The next, they are going to head to Orlando for the Dual Trading Cure Bowl. That's next week, right?
Yeah, it's on the 16th, so it's actually starting the bowl season up pretty early. They're going to be playing during the middle of the day at 2 o'clock. against Troy, and yeah, just a lot of really good buzz with UTSA right now.
Did you head out to the game last Friday?
I did not.
Yeah.
No,
okay, I didn't either.
not.
But my family, sister, my brother-in-law, my younger sister, Roadrunner alumni. So they are big Roadrunner fans. So birds up indeed. You know, packed to the dome last week, and I'm sure tonight's going to be super packed with a bunch of Roadrunner fans out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, the city has really rallied around this team, kind of supported them. So it's been fun to see them go on this ride here.
A great season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congrats.
All right, so we've been on a little bit of a weather ride.
Yes, right? We're kind of in that season where it gets cold fronts, and then it gets cold, and then it gets warm again.
Right.
We are in the stretch of warm
I don't
days.
know what to do. It's like a yo-yo, and I'm just like.
You never know what you're gonna get,
But
right?
hey, you know, we had a little bit of sun yesterday.
We did.
And guess what? Those solar lights that I ordered on Amazon, they work.
They work. Who would have thought, right?
Who would have
Finally,
thought?
just needed a little charging.
They just
there
need a little
from some
charging,
peaks of
and you know
sunshine.
what? I did my best putting them up. But I was thank you for the sunshine.
You're welcome. I know we all kind of need some sunshine in our
From
life right now,
meteorologist
right?
Mia
Yes.
Madeline Montgomery.
There you go. The alliteration
There you
again.
go.
That's good stuff. All right, you guys. Today's trivia question.
Here we go.
When does mountain cedar season peak in South Central Texas?
C.
Whoa!
I don't know.
He
Wow,
was
you were
ready.
quick on that one.
I don't know.
You were really
December,
fast.
January, February, or June. Steven is saying February. What
Okay,
about you, RJ?
mountain cedar season peak in South Central Texas. Wow. You know what? Let's go A, December. We're in December.
Oh, you know
Y'all
what?
were on either side.
All right. One of
So-
these days.
You know, the right season typically. But yes, mountain cedar season begins in December. It peaks in mid-January and it ends around Valentine's Day here in South Central
my
Texas. And the
goodness.
reason why I bring this up for our
Here we
trivia
go.
question today is because mountain cedar has officially entered the pollen count chat for this season. So found that out earlier this morning, sitting at about 280 in the moderate category here for this Friday. Mold still out there as well in the moderate range. By the way, we've got a detailed article up at KSAT.com on our Whatever the Weather page, kind of just detailing what is mountain cedar, what we can expect for the upcoming season, and how to treat those allergies and symptoms that you typically do have. I know I am affected when it comes to mountain cedar as well, as I'm sure a lot of us are. So we've got up that up for you on our KSAT.com Whatever the Weather section. Until then, it is another muggy and warm day. You don't need me to tell you that because it's been copy and paste conditions for pretty much the entirety of this week. 73 degrees is where we sit over at San Antonio International this hour. You can see still have the cloud cover on hand for the most part. The good news is that fog that we saw this morning, at least here in San Antonio and surrounding areas, for the most part has lifted. Visibilities are a lot better than where we were a few hours ago. Still do have some lower visibilities though along the Rio Grande in our far western counties, especially over in Del Rio. But again, here in town and around Bexar County, not really seeing any major issues. We still do have the clouds. But like Steven mentioned yesterday, we were able to find some of that break up just a little bit. We saw some peaks of sunshine. It is very much a possibility that we see that yet again later this afternoon. But of course, temperatures still very warm for this time of year. Upper 70s and low 80s for those daytime highs, around 81 officially here in San Antonio. If you are stepping out for any evening plans, say you're going to the parade later this evening. It is going to be muggy, no huge issues I don't think, but it is still going to be a bit warm out there. And of course, we're going to continue that trend into the first half of the upcoming weekend, starting off tomorrow in the 60s, some additional areas of morning fog and some drizzle possible, maybe an isolated shower into the afternoon. Early Sunday though, Saturday night and early Sunday, what we're going to aim to find is a weak front that's going to try and push into at least parts of South Central Texas. We could find some showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two, especially in our eastern counties. Move in with that. We will keep eyes on that, especially for any early Sunday morning plans. And I think overall Sunday is going to be a slightly better day out there. We could see, again, we're going to have to monitor this pretty closely. We could see a slight dip in some dew points, making it feel just a little bit better out there Sunday afternoon. And it does look to be ever so slightly cooler. So a lot to monitor really over the next 48 hours, but we will kind of just keep eyes on all of that. The good news is next week, especially by Tuesday and into Wednesday, a more substantial front tries to move in
Okay. Well,
and kind of
that's
break up
good.
this pattern,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, It's been like whatever, you know,
Just whatever.
like, you know, well, yeah, the weather,
Very
you know,
blah.
it's been very blah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
and this
Very blah
morning,
weather.
you know, every morning that we've started GMSA, there's been a lot of that fog that you mentioned in along our TransGuide cameras, and even like southeast side this morning, it just creeped in,
Yep.
and drivers, like you mentioned to this yesterday, just watch out during the commute.
Yeah, and it's damp in spots too, because we've
Yeah.
got some pockets of drizzle here and
Yeah.
there, and it's never fun to drive
No,
and
not
reduce
at all.
visibility. So that's just kind of been a really big
Yeah.
theme this week, is just taking it easy out there.
Yeah,
on the
our
roads.
producer Alyssa was even driving down on 37 this morning. Was like, nope, let me go back home. I have time. It is foggy out there.
Yeah, we'll take any drop in the dew points there, as you said. Yeah, just because I want to feel a little bit more like December weather. So yeah, I think just a little bit
Yeah.
cooler. Maybe I might may regret that when we get
Yeah.
down into if we get down to the
Let's-
30s or 40s. But you know, for now, just a little bit cooler
Just
would
something.
be nice. Yeah.
A little breeze.
Because, of course, it is the holiday season, and nothing says the holidays like a good light display. And the Alamo City has some definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I've seen a few, and you may have seen them as well, but Yelp recently listed a list of top places to see holiday lights in Texas, and 6 of the 20 locations are actually located right here in the Alamo City and some of our surrounding areas.
All right, so the top spot here out of the 20, this is across the state of Texas, of course, went to the San Antonio Riverwalk.
of course.
Which makes sense because the lights there are pretty awesome to see during the holidays. And down the list, a little bit further, we have the Old West Christmas Light Fest in Bernie and the Windcrest Light Up. And real quick, Alyssa, was that the family we had on? The family in Windcrest last year? Okay, never.
I'm not surprised by
The one
any
that
of
won the
them,
great
though.
light,
Yeah.
the great light display. Okay.
I'm not surprised by any of that, though, because if you've driven through any of these attraction spots, they are just breathtaking and great to see. Now, Yelp identified these displays using categories like local flavor festivals, landmarks, and historical buildings that had several reviews of their light displays. So, not to they put you on the spot, but do you
Okay.
have a favorite place to go see the lights? Or is there a place that you'd like to go see the lights?
Well, I mean, I always just love the Riverwalk lights.
Oh,
That's
they're
kind of those are the
beautiful.
OGs there.
Yeah.
I know in San Marcos we used to go to the Sights and Sounds. That was always kind of a big deal up there in the San Marcos, Austin area. But yeah, that's usually kind of the traditional sort of spots.
Yeah,
How
same.
about you?
I love the Riverwalk. In fact, I'm going to actually head down there tomorrow, just to have dinner and enjoy some of the lights out there.
There you go.
You know, it was great back about maybe 2021. They had the lights extended up until February. They left them on.
Right.
And I remember it was my birthday, just so you know, February.
okay.
February 8th. You remember, mark that
Good
on
to
your
know,
calendar.
okay.
Went out there to have dinner, and
Yeah.
the lights being out there was just such a special
Yeah,
occasion.
that's
Not just
so
because it was
cool.
my birthday, but just
Yeah.
people were just so it just dazzled by
Yeah.
them, and
Yeah.
it was amazing to see. So I can't wait to head down there tomorrow to check them
The
out.
city always does a great job with that. A couple others that
Yeah.
made the list here. So the Alamo did make the list, the top 20. Lights Alive, this is a drive-through light show. Have you ever seen this?
where's
This is
this
in
one
San
at?
Antonio. I'm not
No,
sure
I
where it
haven't
is,
seen
but
that one.
That's one there. And Santa's Ranch in New Braunfels, cannot forget about our people. But New
Yeah.
Braunfels, Santa's Ranch. I've heard of that one, Santa's Ranch. Isn't
Yeah.
it off like 35? I think it's like right off the high.
definitely must be somewhere off of 35. Just pack your patience heading out to these places because they are going to bring so many people out. But what a great time to just check it out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, good times there. And speaking of good times, I wanted to mention real quick about this event taking place here at Market Square. It is La Gran Tamalada.
I love this.
Okay,
is great.
this is why we were talking about tamales a little bit earlier. So this is a huge festival, 2-day festival there at Market Square. It's going to be a mix of food and artisan vendors and activities for children. We said earlier, you're pork, right?
I mean, pork. I could do bean and cheese. I mean, honestly, I could do it all.
Yeah.
It's great.
Here's my thing. It's interesting. So I was born and raised in El Paso, right? And so coming over to this area, the tamales are different.
They are?
They are. In El Paso, they add a lot more masa to the tamales.
Oh, I
They're
love
a little
masa.
bit, yeah, they're a little bit sort of thicker. Whereas here, I remember going to Delia's for the first time down in the valley
Yeah.
before they opened it up here, and I was just like, wow, these are really thin. Like,
Well-
I'm gonna eat like 6 of these in one sitting.
I definitely need to try some from El Paso. I
Yeah.
mean, I love tamales, and you know, I always have to have. It's like that one time occasion I can have a Coke, like with it, like a
Oh,
soda.
okay,
You
I
know, it's
feel
just like
you.
a thing I
Yeah.
did. You know, with my. It's just a thing. I
Yeah.
love it. You know, try it if you like, but
Very nice.
I love to have that.
Yeah.
It's like a great meal, especially the day after. I know we're on the topic of this, but I really just also say, like, when you can put it on the skillet the next day, kind of toast it up a little bit for breakfast. Yeah. I'm getting hungry.
Good stuff. I know. Yeah, definitely. It's about lunch, right? Okay. Yeah.
It's about lunchtime.
Alyssa, favorite tamale?
Aww. I love that. That's great.
That's a really sweet answer, actually. Okay.
Grandmas are the best.
They are. Okay, guys. Well, Stephen, thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Great way to end the week.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely a good way to end the week here. Friday Fun Day, I guess we could call it.
Friday Fun Day.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you back here Monday on KSAT News Now.